let's talk about the step parents for a minute here. About how they treat biological children. So I see a lot of posts, and I'm dealing with a little bit of something. Without giving too much of my business away. I have a person that I follow on YouTube, and she was saying that her son came back really upset because he was treated some type of way by the father's wife. I think that's his wife or either his girlfriend. Either way, he wasn't treated properly. It was his birthday. So he said they acknowledged the other little boy, his birthday, because it was 3 days before his, but it didn't acknowledge his. So it made him feel some type of way. And then the lady was arguing, the stepmother was arguing with the father in front of the kids, and he overheard them and was talking about, I'm going to do something for my child, and since that's your child, you do something for him, and I'm not going to worry about it. I just think that's bullshit, okay? I'm going to be cussing in this clip, you know what I'm saying? So if you can't stand to hear a cuss word here and there, I suggest you go ahead and keep scrolling. Okay, so where I have the problem is, if you know that your significant other has a problem with your biological kids from another relationship, what is the problem that you can't get resolved before you get hooked up with this person? Because I'm not going to be with somebody that has a problem with my kids, okay? And vice versa. You shouldn't want to be with me if I have a problem with your kid. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the other spouse makes it difficult, for things to work out for the kids. The kids don't have anything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just have to split apart and they can't be together. I look at step parents, you know what I'm saying, as bonus. As a bonus. You know what I'm saying? And co-parenting is very healthy. You know what I'm saying? I don't see where there should be a problem. If you got insecurities when you enter a relationship, it's not my child's responsibility to heal you, and it's not your partner's responsibility to heal you before you get into this relationship. I'm at a point to where I'm looking at, I got step parents, okay? And I don't even like to call them step parents at this point, because no parent should make their child feel some type of way. And that's how I feel it. I feel some type of way. My issues is not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is making the child feel like, they don't count, and making them feel uncomfortable every time they come around. No, I want the child to feel good about, being around and, and feeling welcome when they come around. Feel welcome when they come around. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to feel out of place or anything like that. Now, thank God, my son's father, we never had to deal with that with his wife. His wife is wonderful. And they have kids together. You know what I'm saying? They have kids. So it's like a bonus to my son. You know what I'm saying? She never made my son feel like he didn't count or he's unwanted or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I never had to worry about that. She's a wonderful person. She is wonderful. My son doesn't even look at them as, my stepbrothers and my stepsisters. He don't look at it like that. That's his brothers. That's his sisters. You know what I'm saying? He's the oldest out of 4. Is it 4? Let me see. Out of 5. My bad. He's oldest out of 5, and they all look at each other as brother and sister. It's no step, nothing. You know what I'm saying? They got the same father. They got different mothers. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had to worry about that. You know how peaceful that is? That's a great balance when it comes to raising a child. You know what I'm saying? Nobody got time for that. And my thing is, I wouldn't want my child stressed out anyway. You know what I'm saying? We arguing all the time, and every time, and I got to worry about every time I send my child over there, you know, I got to worry about him being mistreated. And then see, I got to figure out, you know, if somebody going to bail me out of jail if they let me out. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people not playing about their kids. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people not playing about their kids, but I just think it's so sickening that even in my age, that I have to be concerned. Because see, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I have a parent that's out of state. And if that parent goes through any type of crisis, I'm not able to get to them right away. And if the step parent, if their spouse is not on board to where they could call the kids to say something, then see, that leads me to believe that, you know, I'm going to have a problem down the line. Because my thing is, if my parent is not going to make sure that my name is on any type of document to call with any type of emergency, or we not on the same task and you're not going to call your spouse's child to say, this is what's going on, yada, yada, yada. You know, we don't have to agree. We don't have to get along. But at the end of the day, damn it, that's my parent. And I have a right to know. Just because you don't get along with your children and your grandchildren don't mean nothing. You understand? I'm a different type of person. If I'm beefing with my family, put it like this. If I'm beefing with my parents and I have to separate from them, I'm going to still take care of my parents without any second guessing anything. God made me that way. That's just who I am. I'm not going to have any type of feeling about not taking care of my parents. I'm going to honor my parents. I don't care what the situation is. If something was to happen, and if they needed me to take care of them, and I'm not talking to them as of to this day, or something like that, and if I get the word that I need to come and assist and take care of them, yes, I'm going to do that. But you know what makes it difficult is when your parent doesn't make it plain to their spouse. These are my children. If you don't like it, that's your problem. But I'm going to need you to act accordingly. If something happens to me, or if I need something and I'm not able to communicate, I'm going to need you to reach out. You need to put on your big grown-up drawers at your big age. Be uncomfortable in your character from being a jackass and reach out. Anybody that has got a spouse that does not like the spouse's kids, somebody need to have a conversation. Because maybe it's not the spouse. Maybe it's the biological parent that doesn't like their own kids. At the end of the day, somebody need to have a conversation. Because down the line, you never know what's going to happen. Because even that child that's not even biological might need to take care of the step parent. You never know. So be careful how you treat people. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what the person's rank is in the spirit. You understand? We not talk about titles down here on earth. Because a broken vessel down here is a very important instrument to the Lord up above. And people have a tendency to try to judge people while they down here. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what the rank is in the kingdom with a person down here on earth. You don't know what the rank is. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful when you are treating people the wrong way. Because I'm telling you, a busted bum down here is a king in the kingdom. You never know. Treat people how you want to be treated. And if you can't, depart from them. You know what I'm saying? Don't depart the wrong type of way. Just go your way. You don't got to argue, fuss, and fight. Because you're going to agree to disagree. People just need to understand that. So that you can move forward. But at the end of the day, you got bonus parents. You need to have that conversation with your kids about certain things. You need to have that conversation with your spouse. Not unless you're making it so that you don't like your own kids. Okay, so if that's the case, then you need to let it be known so that we can act accordingly then. That's what I'm talking about. I love both of my parents. But do we all get along? No, we do not. Who does though? Who does? We can agree to disagree. And if I see that the situation is becoming too much for me to handle, guess what? I'm rolling out. I'm not going to entertain dumbness. I'm not going to entertain foolishness. I'm not going to be in a situation where my mental status is going to be pressured and I'm going to be stressed out and I can't get my point across and we can't respect each other. I'm going to respect the fact that you can't respect what I'm saying and what I'm feeling, and I'm going to move on. At the end of the day, a conversation needs to be had. If you are blessed to have parents that are still in the land of the living and they are getting older and they have other spouses other than your biological mother and father, I am suggesting that you have an open communication about these things. Me and my siblings never talked about losing each other as siblings. We never had that conversation. But we always had a conversation of if something was to happen to our parents, how are we going to handle it? Even though they both are married now, we look at it as if that's our biological parents. We still have to do our part to assist. That's how God made me anyway. I don't know about nobody else, but I can speak for me. That's how God made me. We talked about that. Me and my sister talked about it. We didn't so much have to worry about, what my brother was going to say, because we knew that he is not, he wouldn't be argumentative about things. We could all negotiate and talk about these things and, get things done. It wouldn't have been a problem, So now that my sister has departed from here, it's me and my brother left. So I feel like I'm carrying a heavy weight because certain things I cannot discuss, with my brother at this time. And I feel like I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to go to the throne of grace. Then I will bring it to him at any time. But what I'm saying is, I'm seeing so much of these step parents and these children not feeling wanted and being loved, and the step parents and treating the kids a certain type of way, and then the parents are standing right there watching. I think that's sick. And if you do that, I think that you need to go and you need to be evaluated. You need to have a CAT scan, MRI, sit down, have a good meal, be baptized, anything. Because anytime you make a young child feel unwanted and broken, they become older adults feeling unwanted and broken. Unless they can be strong in the mind and have somebody near them to help them know that they are valuable and that they count, they're going to grow to be old and broken. Jumping from relationship to relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because I know males have a tendency to not heal. Not all men, but majority of the men have a tendency to not heal. They just jump to new partners. You know what I'm saying? Somebody fresh and new that don't know what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? But when you get into a situation, and same thing with females. Some of the females that I know got daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? It's not your partner's job to heal you. You know what I'm saying? Or to put up with whatever you got going on. You need to get some type of therapy in order to have a healthy relationship. Because people get tired of that drama. You got to think, when you get old, who the hell wants to go back and forth with drama when you old like that? It don't make sense to me. To me, it don't make sense. I just wish everybody would understand what they doing to the kids. You know what I'm saying? The kids is so important, because the foundation that you build with them, it helps them develop as they get older. Who wants to go through the extra headache of getting the kid, therapy and, have to get this done and have to make sure their mental is okay to protect themselves, and they know how to use their common sense, and they know how to defend themselves and things like that. You know how much of a burden and heartache that is? It doesn't make sense. I'm not saying even if you have a 2-parent household that everything is going to be perfect and you're not going to have to go to therapy and all that. I'm just saying, as far as like having them be strong in the mind so that they're able to maneuver this life the way that they should be able to. The way that they'll be able to defend themselves against people that come against them and try to be manipulative and, try to be smart and that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting an SOS that we need to do better. Step parents should always be a bonus. And if you can't understand that your spouse has extra kids, and if you're going into a relationship and you have children by somebody else, if your spouse don't like your kids, then that shouldn't be the relationship that you should be in. Those are your kids. And at the end of the day, whether you like them or not, you're going to have to answer for everything that you're doing to these children and everything that you're saying to these kids. Just remember that. Don't let these kids get old and having to fight these battles. You understand? Because where I'm at, I can't get no feedback. I have to go and do my own research on stuff and find out things. And that's a burden to me because I'm grieving. I'm dealing with my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? I got other issues that I'm taking care of. On top of that, life issues. Life is lifing on top of it. And then when you do this to your kids, it makes it be an extra burden. I'm just saying, think about that. Because step parents should be a bonus, not a burden and a freaking headache.